Chapter 261 Scared to Shrink All. He looked at the tattooed man with pity on his face, and said, "If you don't want to die, tell your captains and leave here immediately, or wait for the red-haired Shanks to trouble you." "What, red-head Shanks?" Hearing Shazher Ching's words, the tattooed man was so frightened that he took a few steps back. "It's good to know that you're afraid. Hurry up and leave with your people. Otherwise, you will all wait to be buried in the sea when the time comes." Shazher Ching cast a glance at the tattooed man, and then said again, "And this kid, but the grandson of marine hero Garp, you dare to kill him? Are you not afraid that Garp will beat you to death?" "What, Garp's grandson?" Hearing Shazher Ching's words, the tattooed man couldn't help swallowing again. Provoking a redhead is already scary enough, and then provoking Garp, the tattooed man feels like he is really dead. The rest of the pirates are like eggplants that have been frosted. In stark contrast to the arrogance just now. "Hurry up and notify the captain and retreat." The tattooed man pondered for a moment and then quickly gave the order to retreat. Then, this group of pirates who were arrogant just a moment ago fled away as fast as they wished to have two less legs. And the deputy captain, with the two of them, rushed to another place. Not long after, there was a sudden exclamation from another part of this windmill town. "Then, I saw a tall man with one eye, hurriedly escaped from this windmill town." Oh! Seeing this scene, the villagers in Windmill Town couldn't help but burst into cheers, which can be said to be a sigh of relief. Then, they looked at Shazher Ching, who was picking up Luffy, with grateful expressions on their faces. And the woman with the headscarf also thanked. "Thank you for your help in time, otherwise, we may not escape today. It's just a little effort. I just wanted to come and see Luffy, but I didn't expect to encounter such a thing." Shazher Ching waved his hand, then looked at the hooded woman, and said, "Your Excellency Makino, can I ask for a glass of water?" All the way, Shazher Ching is really thirsty. Yes, this hooded woman is the red-haired secret wife, the bartender in Windmill Town, and Makino who teaches Ace etiquette. A legendary woman who looks ordinary but has a bunch of terrifying people behind her. "Please." Hearing Shazher Ching's words, Makino couldn't help but froze for a moment, then made a welcoming gesture. Although I don't know why the dignified Shichibukai of the summer is here, he doesn't know what his purpose is. But after all, he saved everyone in Windmill Town. Before he showed any malice, he was a distinguished guest of Windmill Town. "Sister Makino, I want to drink juice too." At this time, Luffy also shouted loudly. "Okay, I'll get you your favorite orange juice." Makino replied with a smile. It can be said that Isho is alluring, and it is extremely heartwarming. Having such a virtuous wife is probably the dream of all men on the sea. Seeing this, Shazher Ching thought so in her heart. Having such a wife makes me feel at ease and peace of mind when I think about it. It was said to be asking for a glass of water, but of course Makino couldn't just give Shazher Ching a glass of water to drink. She prepared a very hearty meal for Shazher Ching. Chapter 262 Luffy's Ominous Foreboding. Then I'm welcome. Not to mention, Shazher Ching is really hungry. After 3 rounds of meals, you will be full of wine and food. Shazher Ching looked at Luffy and said, "I saw Ace in the sea." Hearing this, Luffy immediately looked up at Shazher Ching and asked, "How is he? Is he doing well?" "He's made a name for himself, Luffy, keep going. At this level, be careful that you won't be able to complete the agreement with Ace." Shazher Ching teased. "Don't worry, I will definitely work harder in the future. I will definitely be able to catch up with Ace and fulfill the promise." Hearing this, Luffy suddenly said in dissatisfaction. "Ha ha ha, well, then I will wait for your news. Next, you have to work hard. I will always pay attention to you." Hearing this, Luffy immediately showed a confident smile and said, "Then a word is settled." "Okay, it's a deal." After speaking, Shazher Ching got up and said goodbye. This made Makino a little confused, and it also made the village head of Windmill Town a little confused. Dare Shajurching really just happened to pass by here. Even after Shajurching left here for so long, they were still a little unbelievable. Come around this windmill village for a while, and flicked Luffy along. Hey, Garp, after you know, it's estimated that the sea will be chasing after me. After all, Luffy can't wait to go to sea, and now he has made an agreement with him. I'm afraid he can't wait to go to sea now. Thinking about it, it seems that my current situation is still a little dangerous. Shajurching crossed Erlang's legs and thought so happily in her heart. At the same time, Marine Headquarters. Garp sneezed suddenly for no reason, and he said with some doubts, "What's going on? Why does this old man have such a bad premonition?" However, it seems that I haven't gone back to Windmill Village for a while. Ha ha ha, it's time to go back and see Luffy too, and give him a little love teaching by the way. Garp said with a big laugh. And this thought of his made Luffy of Windmill Village shudder violently. He has a bad feeling. Whenever there is such a hunch, it seems that his end is not very good. Could it be that Grandpa is coming back again? Luffy thought so uneasy in his heart. He began to worry about his future faintly. It's Ace, after all, the bounty has reached 100 million so quickly. Shajurching, who was about to arrive at Mock Town, held a newspaper in his hand and said with a smile on the corner of his mouth. If he remembers correctly, Ace is only half a month away from getting the burning fruit. In half a month, the bounty has increased from 35 million to 100 million, which is simply going against the sky. Is it Roger's son, or is he talented? Shajurching sighed like this, and then the ship approached the port of Mock Town. Natsu-sama, you are back. Anna actually appeared at the port to welcome Shajurching. You're not in charge of things, why did you come here? Shajurching jumped off the boat, appeared in front of Anna, and asked. Don't you know that Lord Naz is back? Leave for a while, and come to greet you. Anna looked at Shajurching resentfully, with a look of Shajurching puzzled. Chapter 263. Do you miss me? Here, a present for you. Seeing Anna's appearance, Shajurching suddenly took out a small box from her chest and handed it to Anna. Give it to me. Taking this small box from Shajurching, Anna said with a face full of surprise. Of course, I bought it for you. Shajurching, Isho, immediately made Anna smile, and even blushed, and said, Is it really for me? Of course. Shajurching glanced at him angrily, and then said, As a powerful assistant like you, how dare I treat you badly? After that, he walked away. Is it just a great assistant? Hearing these words, the joy on Anna's face suddenly turned into loneliness. No, it will definitely not be just an assistant, I will definitely go further and achieve the ultimate goal. Anna said with such a firm expression that he believed that as long as he was good enough, there was nothing she couldn't do. For the next month, the Summer Chamber of Commerce was quiet and nothing happened. Shajurching is also calmly strengthening his strength, and he has not done anything. The sea, this period of time can be described as quite calm. Except for one who has made a name for himself to Fire Fist Ace, other than that, nothing has happened. The writing wheel eye system, the progress has reached 97%, and it is finally time to wake up. Shajurching got up and walked out of Mock Town. It's time to see Hancock. She hasn't seen her for so long. She shouldn't be angry, Shajurching thought. Then, he set off. He didn't realize that just behind him, Anna looked at Shajurching, who was leaving with a complicated expression, her face full of gloom. Where is he going? Anna clenched her fists secretly. Shajurching went out this time, not to carry out the normal mission. She definitely knows if she's on a mission. Could it be that he went to see the wild woman he was outside? An idea suddenly popped into Anna's head. As soon as she thought of this, she wanted to chase out, but she stopped immediately. If she left, what would happen to the Summer Chamber of Commerce? Damn! Anna couldn't help stomping her feet fiercely, and then she could only watch Shajurching go away on the sea. Windless Belt, Amazon Lily. Hancock, long time no see. Looking at Shajur-Ching, who suddenly appeared in front of him with a smile on his face, Hancock suddenly changed from a proud queen to a gentle little woman. Natsu, you finally came to see the concubine is so happy. Seeing Shajur-Ching coming, Hancock's face was full of joy, and his face instantly blushed, just like a little girl. I miss you, miss me. Shajur-Ching suddenly approached Hancock and said softly. No. Hancock suddenly had smoke on his head, blushed all of a sudden, and fell directly into Shajur-Ching's arms. Mosquito said, I think about you every day, and it's you who dreams of you. NLT, PNGT. Hearing these words, Shajur-Ching couldn't help but immediately hugged Hancock and whispered in her ear, since you miss me so much, I will accompany you this time, okay? After hearing this, Hancock nodded his head happily, okay, my concubine is so happy. Seeing this, Shajur-Ching immediately picked up Hancock, stepped on it, and disappeared in place. Chapter 264 Unacceptable. Lord Natsu is finally here, and the Empress finally doesn't have to sigh every day. That's great, the Empress can finally see a smile on her face. Marigo looked at this scene and said with heartfelt joy. The happy time is always so short, in a blink of an eye, 10 days have passed. My concubine is so happy, but my concubine is so sad. Seeing Shajur-Ching, who was about to leave again, Hancock wept with tears in his eyes. Hancock, give me a little more time. When I develop the Summer Chamber of Commerce even stronger, then I can accompany you every day. Shajur-Ching now has enough strength to protect Hancock, and the rest is only a matter of time. When the Summer Chamber of Commerce develops, he can move the entire Amazon Lily, or move the headquarters of the Summer Chamber of Commerce to the Windless Belt and merge with Amazon Lily. At that time, he can accompany Hancock every day. Well, I'm waiting for you, no matter how long, the concubine will be waiting for you. Hancock nodded obediently after hearing this. Then I'm leaving, you have to take good care, call me if you miss me, and I'll come to see you when I have time. Shajur-Ching kissed Hancock's forehead, and then boarded the ship and left Amazon. On the windless sea. The wheel writing system is still 1% away, and it's finally time to reopen it. 10 days have passed, and the upgrade progress of his Sherinian system has also reached 99%. Just the last bit. Shajur-Ching is now waiting silently, waiting for the Sherinian system to wake up again. Sailing days, of course, will not be boring, because he and Hancock are on the phone. It's just that his love with Hancock was quickly interrupted. Giala, little devil, where else do you want to escape? The things our big pirates have set their sights on, no one has ever been able to escape. Just when Shajur-Ching had just embarked on the great route, not far from his ship, there was such a sharp crow-like laughter. I saw a man with a long tongue, a wreath and a cane in his hand, dressed in colorful clothes, chasing a giant with an incomparably huge body. If this is the case, Shajur-Ching will not see it. After all, it has nothing to do with you when someone arrests someone. But, things are often not so good. Just as Shajur-Ching was about to turn, his ship's port side suffered a heavy blow, and Shajur-Ching's face suddenly darkened. Before he could speak, 2 more hard particles with a fruity scent slammed into his ship. Immediately, he slammed his ship into 2 big holes again. Parasparrow, don't give me too much. Shajur-Ching's good mood for the day was gone in an instant. He shouted at the tall and thin man wearing colorful clothes and licking his tongue. That's right, the man in all kinds of strange clothes is the candy minister of the Big pirates, the eldest son of Big Parasparrow. The big pirate with a bounty of 700 million Bailey in the original book. It was not until after hearing the roar of Shajur-Ching that Parasparrow noticed Shajur-Ching. When he saw Shajur-Ching, he couldn't help be thinking in his heart, this is not a guy to mess with. But it's just not easy to mess with. Parasparrow said in his heart, if you dare to interfere with my mission and let the little devil run away, even if you are Whitebeard's partner, it will be useless. So, He looked at Shajirching and said in a reprimanding tone, "Why does Thunder Hunter want to hinder me from performing my mission?" Chapter 265. Let me see what you can do. You destroyed my boat for no reason, don't you have anything to say? Hearing what Perospero said, Shajirching's face suddenly became even more gloomy. What do I need to say to you, Thunder Hunter? Perospero asked with a provocative rhetoric when he heard the words. As one of the members of the 4 Emperor Pirates, is it possible for him to give others an explanation? Don't tell me, just stay here today, Perospero. Hearing these words, Shajirching immediately pulled out the fire sword from his waist and rushed to Perospero. Since you won't make it easier for me, Perospero, I won't make it easier for you either. Looking at Perospero, who was close at hand, a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. Then, he said to the little devil Ozjr behind him, "Escape now, I'll stop this guy for you. If you don't know where to go, you might as well go to Whitebeard, where you are welcome." "Okay, thank you." When the little devil Oz Jr. heard Shajirching's words, he immediately responded, and then he started his huge ship and fled. "Thunder Hunter, you are playing with fire." Seeing this scene, Perospero's eyes suddenly became dangerous. HMPH, playing with fire. So what? I'm going to play with fire today. Hearing this, Shajirching grinned and sneered, "Of course, if you don't agree, use your strength to subdue me." Natsumi Young frantically provoked Perospero, who immediately responded, "Then let me see, what ability do you have? Do you really think you are so amazing?" Sugar solution fix. He waved his hand and blasted out a thick fruity sugar liquid, and he was about to wrap Natsumi Young in it. Thorn. When Shajirching drew his sword, it was torn apart by several bright lights, and then, thunder and lightning raged all over his body, 1,000 birds. The terrifying thunderbolt smashed the sugar liquid that came together again. Candy Rain Needle. Facing this violent thunder and lightning, Perospero stepped back suddenly. Then, with a wave of his hand, a piece of sugar liquid appeared in front of him and turned into a long sharp needle. Each one has the thickness of a finger, wrapping armament hockey, and bursting at Shajirching with an extremely hard breath. He wanted to use this skill to force Shajirching out. However, he may have underestimated Shajirching too much. In the face of the terrifying long needle that burst out, he whispered, "Lightning armor." All the long needles that flew over hit the lightning armor without any effect, and all fell to the ground. Seeing this scene, Perospero couldn't help being taken aback. He didn't dare to show any negligence. He immediately mobilized all his strength and shouted, "Candy Iron Maiden." He can't let Sha Muyang come close. He is very aware of Shajirching's close combat strength. He himself is a remote-controlled existence. If he can fight in close quarters, he will not fight in close quarters. I saw a huge Candy Woman sculpture, covered with hockey, and fell with a heavy momentum. Covering a range of more than 100 meters around, the speed is extremely fast, and the air is collapsed. If you don't give Shajirching a chance to react at all, you will engulf Sha Muyang. Seeing this scene, Sha Muyang immediately flashed back. Seeing this scene, a terrifying light flashed in Perospero's eyes, and said, "Waves of sugar liquid." Chapter 266 _ What a disappointment. I saw a piece of sugar liquid like a storm, wrapped around it, completely wrapping Shajirching in the middle. Coupled with the candy virgin on top of her head, Shajirching had no chance to escape, and was directly enveloped in it. Die. Seeing this scene, Perospero's face suddenly flashed fierce anger, and he wrapped the whole candy virgin with sugar liquid. Then, he opened his hand and shook it, and there was a cruel penetrating sound and a terrifying heat inside the Candy Iron Maiden. Purro, the Iron Maiden in candy will release super high temperature to suffocate people at the moment when the target is enveloped. Of course, what is really deadly is the countless spikes that can turn people into a sieve in an instant. It is said that your Thunder Hunter is extremely powerful, and now it seems that it is nothing more than that. HMPH, if you dare to provoke me, I'll let you know what the hell is out there, don't think I'm an idiot like Jack. But now it's useless to tell you these things. I think you've been beaten up and you're almost dead." Feeling that there was no sound in the Candy Iron Maiden, Sparrow immediately dissipated this posture, wanting to see Ching's tragic situation. But just as he dispersed the Candy Iron Maiden and saw the scene inside, he couldn't help but screamed bad. Inside the Candy Iron Maiden, it turned out to be empty, only a piece of broken wood. And at this time, a sharp breath came from behind him, and he couldn't help being surprised. He didn't think about it, and immediately shouted, "Candy shield." He created a candy shield behind him to resist, and then he wanted to evacuate. One-shot flow, Lebo. But obviously, Ching, who appeared behind him, did not want Sparrow to withdraw. PFF'd. With a sharp knife, the candy armor was torn apart without any obstruction. Sparrow couldn't help being horrified. This armor was harder than steel, yet it was torn apart so easily. Ching's strength was truly terrifying. Then, he felt a sense of incomparable pain hit. Ching ruthlessly ripped a huge hole in Sparrow's body with this knife. PFF'd. The cold light fell, blood splattered, and Sparrow couldn't help screaming. This severe pain made him almost lose his ability to think. Baikumum's eldest son, his strength turned out to be nothing more than that. "You really brought glory to the Bigumum pirates. As the eldest son, you were seriously injured by the Thunder Hunter." "Tisk tisk tisk, I want to hear this news, it will spread to the whole sea immediately tomorrow." Ching wrapped armament hockey on his sword, pointed at Sparrow, and said contemptuously, "Sparrow's strength is weaker than he imagined. I heard your domineering tone just now, I thought you were strong. In the end, I just started to exert my strength, but you lost, just like the soft-footed shrimp, it's really disappointing." Ching perfectly interprets what is called professional ridicule. But it wasn't over yet, he continued. "After running away from the prey, it must be difficult for you to go back. As a big brother, it is really sad that you can't even enter the 4 generals." Hearing Ching's words, Sparrow was instantly angry. Chapter 267 Incompetent Idiot. Asshole. He roared and wanted to launch his ability to attack Ching. But before he could act, a terrifying electric current appeared all over Ching, shrouding Sparrow in a manic thunder and lightning, making him lose the power to resist. "You don't be proud you're going to die today." Seeing Sparrow suddenly seemed to have thought of something, showing a smug smile. His voice was incomparably small, but Ching couldn't help but look behind him as if thinking of something. Just as he turned around, a long stick of glutinous fragrant rushed towards him. "Hey!" Ching immediately used shaving dodge to escape, and after losing the target of Ching, the glutinous ball stuck to Sparrow and rescued him. The next moment, Ching appeared on the other side of the ship, and couldn't help but look at the person who attacked him. "The Hunter of Thunder, obstructing our Bigumam pirates from doing business, and wounding our Shakuro family members, do you want to die?" The man standing on the bow with sharp and cold eyes, holding a trident, said in a deep voice. I saw that this was a tall man with short amaranth hair and slender legs. He has a skull tattoo on his left arm, a white scarf like a flower, black jeans, a white knee pad on his left knee, and a pair of black spiked boots. "Katakuri, I didn't expect you to come out in person." Ching looked at Katakuri with a very solemn expression and said. "That's right, the person who attacked Ching and rescued Sparrow was the head of the 3 generals, the second in command of the Bigumam pirates, known as Katakuri of Ka-ur, and the sea with a bounty of 912 million bells. Thief. It's troublesome now, this kind of opponent is not easy to deal with." Ching looked at his broken ship, and then looked at the ship under his feet, and his heart suddenly became extremely heavy. And just when Ching was thinking like this, Katakuri's eyes suddenly lit up, and then he directly attacked Ching. His observation haki saw the future and saw the escape of Ching. But can he let Shajur-Ching escape? Impossible. Afraid that Shajur-Ching would escape, their Bigumum pirates would be a real shame. He took a heavy step and disappeared in a swish, and then appeared in front of Shajur-Ching. The long legs turned into glutinous balls, became longer and larger, and covered with armament. They kicked through the air and came out. The speed was so fast that Shajur-Ching couldn't even react. Bang! Shajur-Ching waved his sword to fight, and at the moment when the pair met, the deck under his feet cracked and was knocked back. To actually fight with Katakuri-sama, I'm really courting death. I think I have a long life. The mere hunter of thunder, dare to fight against Katakuri-sama, he is also worthy. I don't even think about my own strength. I really don't know who is innocent. HMPH, he's dying anyway, why bother with a dead person, and dare to hurt Lord Perospero, Lord Katakuri will never let him go. The people around looked at this scene and sneered disdainfully. Just as they were talking, Shajur-Ching was repelled by Katakuri by more than 10 meters, and he was completely at a disadvantage. Chapter 268 Kaleidoscope, Wake Up. Bang! 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 As the sparks splashed, Shajur-Ching only felt more and more struggling. He knew that it would not go on like this, so he quickly entered the lightning strike armor mode. Boom! But he had just entered the lightning strike armor mode when he received a heavy punch in the chest, and Katakuri said in a low voice, Jiao Nuo Tuan. I saw Katakuri's hand turned into a stick-shaped glutinous ball, wrapped around armament hockey, and spun very fast. It actually dented Shajur-Ching's lightning armor with a single blow. Wow! Shajur-Ching spat out a mouthful of blood and flew out like a sandbag. Famous chestnut rice cake. Katakuri approached again, his arms turned into rice cakes, wrapped around the mighty armament hockey. Then, the bar-shaped rice cake arm accelerated instantly, bombarded away in all directions indiscriminately, and possessed the terrifying power to completely shatter the earth. And under the precise manipulation of Katakuri, they all gathered around Shajur-Ching and struck away. Puff puff. The power on this fist is simply indescribable. Shamuyang looked at the lightning strike armor that he was proud of. At this moment, it was torn apart like a fragile piece of paper. Lightning strike armor was originally just an augmentation skill, with some defensive functions attached. Now that he was torn apart, Shajur-Ching, who had no booster, could hardly get a chance to breathe under Katakuri's torrential rain attack. He instantly realized what a stormy blow. Puff puff. Shajur-Ching felt that his chest fell into pain in an instant, and then, there was no feeling at all. His chest sank all of a sudden, and the pain was numb. He didn't even have time to cover armament, and even before he could seal it, he was crushed all the way into the cabin, vomiting blood. His consciousness was instantly blurred. Damn, are you going to stop here? Shajur-Ching is not Luffy, she has no blood and blood, she can stand up even after being beaten infinitely. Shajur-Ching's consciousness became more and more blurred, and he roared in his heart, Bastard, if the writing wheel eye system is here at this time, and my kaleidoscope writing wheel eye is there, how can the situation be like this? Just when he was just thinking about this, a long-lost voice suddenly came from his head, Ding. The upgrade and repair of the Sharingan system has been successful, whether to start using it. Hearing this voice, Shajur-Ching, who was already unconscious at first, was instantly overjoyed, as if his body had been injected with endless power, and shouted, Susanoo. In an instant, an evil and icy force erupted, and Perospero's ship sank a lot. A purple energy giant of more than 20 meters appeared in front of Katakuri, holding a shield in one hand, and actually resisted Katakuri's attack. But Shajur-Ching clearly saw that Susanoo's body was slowly cracking, and he couldn't resist Katakuri's terrifying attack. As expected of Katakuri, it's amazing. Shamuyang sighed in his heart. In the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye state, Katakuri's force value, he can see clearly, has reached a terrifying 458. It's already so terrifying now. How strong was he when he fought against Luffy in the original book? Shamuyang did not dare to neglect, and immediately turned the wheel-shaking eye, Akina. He boosted it with all his strength. In an instant, this warrior like Susanoo exuded a hard aura. Chapter 269 Susanoo is tough. 8 arms Shira. Lightning armor. Shajirching shouted, and Susanoo's body was wrapped in a layer of lightning armor. At this time, Shajirching looked really majestic. Is this the trick to defeat Jack? Sure enough, but... Katakuri looked at the incomparably tall Susanoo and rushed over with a gun, saying, "In the future I see, you will lose to me." Bird rice cake. Katakuri saw a rope-like rice cake emerge from his body, and rushed towards Susanoo. Chindori Ryu. Shajirching shouted, and the current of up to 100 million volts violently attacked. Shish. But in the face of such a violent current, Katakuri's body is like Logia's elementalization, and it can't hurt him at all. The rope-like rice cake is also extremely flexible, and the current can't stop its going at all. Illusion. Gold binding. Seeing this scene, Shajirching suddenly glared angrily and shouted. Shoo! A wave visible to the naked eye enveloped Katakuri, but Shajirching did not dare to relax his vigilance. Observation haki of this guy Katakuri is really incomparable. If he foresees the future, he may know what effect this move will have, so that he may unlock the illusion the moment he is hit. But this trick, the effect is still there. At least the rope-like rice cake that flew in, suddenly seemed to have disappeared, and fell to the ground softly, without any attack power. Famous chestnut rice cake. Katakuri didn't even have the slightest sign of being hit, so he launched this storm-like attack on Shajirching again and again. The air was directly blasted. However, if Shajirching looked closely, he would find that Katakuri's palm was punctured and was bleeding. Obviously, he solved the illusion instantly by relying on pain. Armed. Seeing this scene, Shajirching would not be shy. The 8-armed Shira-wrapped armament haki violently punched out, and fought away. I didn't write Wheel Eyes before, he just couldn't do it. Now, humph, it's not certain who will kill the deer. Now that his force value is as high as 391, he is worse than Katakuri under the increase of Susanoo and Ajina. Even if it's bad, maybe you can improve your haki cultivation level during the battle with Katakuri. Katakuri tricolor haki are all powerful and make a great sharpening stone. Bang! 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 The confrontation between the two suddenly produced a terrifying wave. The originally very calm sea turned violent waves, and a wolf head was more than 10 meters high and tens of meters high. Even the Katakuri ship was swayed by the waves, and it felt like it would be engulfed. The people on that ship were worried, and quickly started the ship, and then exited. Boom boom boom. It was so fast that the two hands fought each other, almost to the point where the arms of the two of them completely became an afterimage, tearing the air and making a loud noise. From time to time, there are sparks sputtering and lightning blasting, which is completely unapproachable by ordinary people. The violent aftermath made the surrounding air distorted and became heavier, and the waves in the 4 directions of the sea were rolling. Under Shajirching's feet, sawdust exploded constantly, flying everywhere. Chapter 270 Conqueror Confrontation. To be able to have such a terrifying collision with Katakuri-sama. Just kidding, why did this guy suddenly become so strong as if he had been beaten by chicken blood? Is this the strength of the Thunder Hunter? This is too strong. Katakuri's subordinates looked at this scene and couldn't help but say in disbelief. In their opinion, Shajirching should be suppressed by Katakuri soon. After all, Katakuri is much stronger than Jack. But the scene that is happening in front of them is telling them all the time that what they think is impossible is happening right in front of them. Just when they thought so. Seeing Katakuri's eyes suddenly lit up, and then glared at the same time as Shajirching opposite him, releasing a domineering, majestic, icy power. Om! Conqueror vs Conqueror. The entire sky instantly changed color, and the ships under their feet even exploded, and the collision of breaths was extremely violent and shocking. Conqueror. How is it possible to be on a par with Katakuri-sama on Conqueror? Seeing this scene, those Katakuri's subordinates were shocked. Are you surprised? Seeing this scene, Shajir-Ching smiled, and then said softly, what surprises you even more is yet to come. Overlord. Mental shock. Shajir-Ching glared again, and Akina shot out, and a more domineering force descended like a crushing force, which instantly overwhelmed Katakuri's conqueror. Hi. This time, even Katakuri didn't even think about it, and saw his conqueror being captured by a force of force. Then, a gigantic force rushed into his brain, causing him to be in a trance. Seeing this scene, how could Shajir-Ching miss such a good opportunity, and immediately attacked with all his strength. Yi Daolu profound truth destroyed. PFF'd. Susanoo slashed and tore Katakuri in half. Not only that, the ship under his feet was also split open, and the raging waves that were raging were torn apart in an instant. Not only that, but the ship of Perospero and the others was cut off in an instant, causing the ship to fall in a certain direction. A long crack appeared in the sky, and it rolled over. Lord Katakuri. But now these people don't care about that. Seeing Katakuri being split in half by Natsumi Yang's blow, they can't help but cry out in shock. Flowing glutinous balls. But Katakuri's voice came immediately. The deck under Shajir-Ching's feet suddenly turned into a flowing glutinous mass, which swallowed Susanoo's lower body and restricted his movements. Ability awakens. Shajir-Ching had seen this kind of thing once in Doflamingo. But to predict such a thing in the future, although Shajir-Ching had already made psychological preparations, he still felt scalp tingling when he actually faced it. With such a strong blow, he didn't hurt Katakuri at all. Katakuri appeared in front of Shajir-Ching unscathed, and then waved, weeping rain. The thick glutinous ball that I saw was spent, and then, it turned into an incomparably fierce attack and slammed into Susanoo. Chapter 271 See the Future. 8 Knife Flow. Libo. In the face of the glutinous balls coming from all directions, Shajir-Ching shouted, and a long knife appeared on Susanoo's 8 arms. Then, he swiped out a fierce sword wave. Whether this sword wave is speed, strength, or sharpness, it is first class. Even if a mountain is in front of Shajir-Ching, he can also split it. Such a terrifying attack collided with this glutinous ball. Logically speaking, such a terrifying sword wave should be able to tear this glutinous ball apart effortlessly. But, PFF'd. Without causing too much movement, the sword wave was blocked by the glutinous ball, and then it exploded with a bang, shaking the world. And Katakuri had gotten close to Susanoo's shoulder, and stabbed Shajir-Ching with a shot, stabbed with sticky balls. Seeing that the spear in his hand was immediately wrapped in glutinous balls, and then, it turned extremely fast, exuding an incomparably penetrating power, making Shajir-Ching dodge quickly. You can't dodge. Katakuri shouted like this, and he moved the attacking position of the gunhead while stabbing at high speed, avoiding Natsumi Yang's block. Then, he stabbed Susanoo's body fiercely. Crack. Hearing a cracking sound, Susanoo's chest split open. As if being hit by a galloping mountain, he stepped back a few steps and sank the ship a lot. Thunder Hunter, next, you will completely lose to me. Katakuri said coldly, then waved his arm and said, Musou Donut. In the void that I saw, a huge donut suddenly appeared. In an instant, an incomparably powerful aura locked onto Shajir-Ching, which made him feel a sense of horror as his hair exploded. One-shot flow. Profound meaning. In this regard, Shajir-Ching did not dare to neglect, and slashed out with all his strength, exterminate. Fantastic rice cake. Katakuri said in a low voice. A square glutinous ball blasted out at a speed exceeding the speed of sound, rushing towards Shajir-Ching's long knife. You won't hit my attack. Katakuri's eyes lit up again and said confidently. Then, the horn-shaped glutinous ball that I saw directly brushed the knife and hit Susanoo's chest hard. Katakuri had already predicted the trajectory, power, and even the angle of this sword in advance. He used the glutinous body he made, together with the ship that had been glutinous, into a soft glutinous fluid to buffer against this blow. PFF'd. The power of this punch was so strong that Shajirching was directly shocked by a mouthful of blood, and Susanang almost dimmed a lot in an instant. Shajirching's eyes couldn't help but blood flowed out, and his vision began to blur. Ah! Shajirching couldn't help covering his eyes and exhaling in pain after the change in Sherinian. The peerless donuts. Seeing this, Katakuri immediately waved his arms and said, "The strange power rice cake. Just saw that lightning-like attack just now, blast it out again. Block me." In the face of this blow, Shajirching's whole body was tense, so he manipulated Susanoo and swung the thunder and punishment of heaven and earth to confront him. "You can't stop it," Katakuri said confidently like a repeater. Then, as he said, Shajirching's blow with all his energy was about to collide with Katakuri's attack. Chapter 272 Shajirching is desperate. However, Katakuri just got out of the way. His punch folded and rebounded at an extreme speed in the air, and he attacked Susanoo again heavily, and the air exploded directly. PFF'd. Shajirching spat out a mouthful of blood again, and Susanang was almost forced to retreat nearly a dozen meters, and the whole sea was shaking violently. Wu Shuang donuts. Weird rice cakes. Katakuri blasts out again like an icy killing machine. Damn. In the face of the fast long punch coming from another heavy blow, Shajirching pushed the kaleidoscope to the limit, and 8 arms blasted out at the same time, covering the 1,000-bird stream lightning and spreading the attack away. He couldn't believe it, he wouldn't even be able to resist a blow from his Katakuri. "This time, your attack is this way." But in the face of all-round fists from Shajirching's bombardment, and the current that came from covering it, Katakuri said so indifferently. Then, his body turned into a glutinous ball, and was riddled with holes by lightning, but nothing happened. It's like he has seen through the attack route of Natsumi Young, and has already calculated the countermeasures. Boom boom boom. I saw his blasted arm folded countless times in the air in an instant, perfectly avoiding all the attack gaps of Susanoo. Then, like a spring erupting, it was wrapped in supreme power, and it smashed Susanoo's chest directly into a huge pothole. PFF'd. Shajirching spat out a mouthful of blood again, and Susanoo was almost blown down. Then, Katakuri waved his hand, and a piece of glutinous ball was wrapped away, squeezed, and continued to spread to the whole body, to completely crush Shajirching. Damn. Among all Shajirching's opponents, there is no one who can make him feel like Katakuri is not an opponent at all. You know, his current combat power is similar to that of Katakuri. But when he really fought, he was beaten by Katakuri. Paropolo, Hunter of Thunder, let's just stay here this time. How dare you provoke Katakuri, I really don't know how high the sky is. Looking at the embarrassed Shajirching, Perospero showed a mocking smile. Katakuri's observation hockey is so powerful that even Bigumum is horrified, let alone a Thunder Hunter. Come on, Katakuri-sama. Thunder Hunter, go to hell. Ha ha ha, how dare you fight against Katakuri-sama, I really don't know how high the sky is. Standing on the candy monster created by Perospero, Katakuri's subordinates echoed it. Thunder Hunter, it's over here. Katakuri looked at Susanoo, who had already covered most of his body, and said this. Then, he waved his arm and said, you are the first person who can let me use this trick besides the other 4 emperors. After speaking, he waved his arm again, Wu Shuang donut. 9-headed rice cake. In an instant, 9 huge donuts appeared, and Shajirching instantly felt a sense of panic like falling into an ice cellar. Damn, are you going to lose to Katakuri? If only I could see through the future, or see the flaws in all the tricks. Shajirching truly felt the terror and oppression that Katakuri brought him. Simply hopeless. Chapter 273 Writing Wheel Eye System, Wake Up. It's over. Perospero and the others said with a grim look on their faces. Seeing this scene, Shajirching immediately clenched his fists and roared in his heart. How could it end here? Sharanyan, system, give me strength, I want to be able to defeat Katakori's strength. And LT, P and GT. Ding. The host's strong emotional fluctuations have been detected, and the experience effect of the right eye ability, ANA, has been activated. Shajirching felt that the world in front of him suddenly changed completely. Katakori, bombarded at that moment, in his sight at the moment, turned into pictures that stopped one by one, and were divided into fragments of various moves. He can clearly see the weakness of every trick fragment. The sky does not die, so do I. Seeing this scene, Shajirching couldn't help but be overjoyed. Then, he directly supported Susanoo again. The 8-armed Shira came out at the same time, and Ajina blessed it, and the power and speed exploded. In the eyes of Shajirching, the world is infinitely slow, but it is not like this in the eyes of others. Seeing Shajirching attacked again, although Katakori was surprised, he didn't think it was possible for Shajirching to turn defeat into victory again. Katakori is like this, and the sun and the moon are even brighter. I still plan to fight stubbornly, I really don't know what to do. Perospero looked at Shajirching, showing a strong sense of ridicule. That's it. The people behind him immediately echoed their voices with contempt on their faces. No. But at this moment, Katakori's voice suddenly came, and he looked at Shajirching with a dignified expression, his brows furrowed together. What's the matter? Looking at this scene, Perospero and the others couldn't help but be a little stunned and didn't know what happened, but the next moment, they understood. I saw Shajirching, who was hanged and beaten by Katakori before, and actually manipulated the attacks of Susanoo and Katakori, and collided brazenly. Shajirching actually blocked Katakori's attack that not only has super high speed, but also has extreme transformation ability. Boom boom boom. The aftermath of the battle between the two almost turned the sea over, causing Perospero's complexion to change and quickly create a shield. Then, they were slapped by a violent wave and flew a few hundred meters away. The violent air waves opened up the terrifying waves, which continued to shatter the sea surface. Katakori, the situation has been reversed from this moment. Shajirching roared, and the writing wheel turned quickly, and suddenly a more powerful force erupted. He has to end the battle quickly, otherwise, when the right eye ability experience period has passed, he will be suppressed by Katakori again. I'm not so easily overwhelmed by you. Katakori felt Shajirching's sudden burst of power, and he shouted loudly, strengthening his power. Boom boom boom. The more terrifying collision produced a more terrifying momentum, and the terrifying air wave directly began to traumatize the two. Crack. Boom. PFF'd. Katakori and Susanoo were constantly shattered by wounds, and both of them received a very strong impact, and blood flowed from the corners of their mouths. But the two did not flinch at all. Lay done. Angry Thunder Tiger. After being able to see through Katakori's attack, Shajirching has no scruples in attacking. Chapter 274 Experience card expired. Roar. In the endless thunder and lightning, a fierce tiger condensed out. Then, walking on the roaring pace of wind and thunder, perfectly dodged all the obstacles of Katakori, wrapped in an incomparably heavy force, biting towards Katakori. The sticky ball barrier. Seeing that his attack was completely unable to stop Shajirching for a moment, Katakori immediately created a barrier to block it. Boom. The thunder and lightning tiger slammed into the barrier fiercely, and suddenly a billowing wave of air erupted, and it exploded fiercely. Zizz. Suddenly, a fierce and manic thunder and lightning raged like this, shattering the entire sea. Seeing this scene, Shajirching immediately whispered, "Lay done. Flying Thunder Sword." Just like a thunder sword blasted out, it has the terrifying ability to pierce everything. Just like light, it pierces this glutinous barrier directly, and it will pierce Katakori's body. Quote. Hey. But so many years of anticipating combat experience in the future gave Katakori a super fast reaction speed, and this immediate blow made him dodge the past. Then, can you dodge this blow? In the eyes of Shajirching at this moment, there are several flaws in Katakori's movements, and there is no better time to attack than now. Shajirching appeared in front of Katakori, exuding a terrifying thunder light all over his body. He threw the fire in his hand into the air, and then kicked it away. PFF'd. This blow, even if Katakori has the power of a fairy, he can't dodge it. His chest was directly pierced, and all of a sudden, the extremely powerful and manic thunder and lightning completely drowned Katakori. 200 million volts. Shajirching has no hidden thoughts at all, and she will output with all her strength. The air was suddenly collapsed by this thunder and lightning bombardment. This violent thunder and lightning, even Katakori couldn't bear it, and let out a muffled sound. Katakori, your end has come. Shajirching dispersed Susanangu, gathered all the strength, pulled out the flowing fire, and blessed China, shouting, one sword flow. Profound meaning, go through the sun. PFF'd. A blade of cold light passed by, the sky was broken, and the sea was broken. Katakori's shoulder immediately, and a deep hole was torn in his chest. If Katakori hadn't covered armament in time, I'm afraid he would have been split in half by Shajirching by now. Bang! Before Katakori had a chance to react, he stomped heavily on Katakori's chest and kicked him out. Nine-headed rice cake. But in the end, it was Katakori, and at the moment when he flew out, he still made Shajirching fall into a siege. Shish! Even with Aina's blessing, Shajirching still did not dare to relax his vigilance. If he was not careful, this attack would be fatal. But just when he was about to dodge the last blow and end the curtain perfectly, he suddenly felt his heart tighten suddenly, and then, Aina's effect group disappeared. Not good. The moment Aina's effect disappeared, Shajirching couldn't help crying out in her heart. This attack, which he could avoid in his eyes, instantly became his life reminder. PFF'd. Shajirching was also blasted out like a sandbag, and flew out fiercely above the sea. Wow! Shajirching spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face instantly turned pale. Katakori's punch almost killed it. Chapter 275 Both loses. Thunder escape. Heavenly tribulation thunder punishment. Shajirching gritted her teeth and quickly formed the seal, releasing the last chakra in her body, turning it into this final blow. He's almost dead, but how much fighting power Katakori still has, he doesn't know yet. If he doesn't want to be forced into a desperate situation after Katakori waits to be slowed down, he must seize this opportunity. Cut off Katakori's only chance to pursue him, destroy the ship and hold Perospero. Rumble. Suddenly, a dark cloud floated above the sky. In an instant, an incomparably heavy aura descended, and an incomparably arrogant and fierce aura burst out, with supreme killing intent. Boom! A thunder light that illuminated the entire sea, accompanied by terrifying fluctuations, directly aimed at the pirate ship of Katakori and others. Then, with the momentum of the thunder, it landed down with a bang, and the air could not stop it for half a minute. Not good. Looking at this huge thunderstorm that fell from the sky, Perospero and the others couldn't help but change their faces. What are you most afraid of on the ocean? Storm, thunder and lightning weather. Stronger than a generation of hero Golden Lion Shiki, isn't it also because of the stormy weather that such a huge fleet was finally wiped out? And in the face of a thunder calamity that is as destructive as a storm, one can imagine what would happen if he didn't avoid it in time. As soon as these devil fruit powers encounter the sea, everything will be over. They who become ordinary people and lose most of their strength may directly drown due to lack of oxygen. Candy barrier. Perospero quickly blessed himself and others with a defense to block the lightning. At the same time, facing Katakori, who was also blasted out of the sea, create a group of candy monsters to hold him up to prevent him from falling into the sea. Next moment. Boom. The whole sea instantly turned into a day, and manic thunder and lightning continued to bombard the sea, setting off a surging wave, which was extremely terrifying. At this moment, it is also difficult for Katakori to attack Shajirching. Because the injuries he received were almost fatal, he also lost his combat effectiveness. This confrontation lasted for nearly a minute. Finally, when the aftermath dissipated, there was no trace of Shajir-Ching on the sea. Only the breath of thunder and lightning still remained in the air, vaguely indicating that Shajir-Ching once existed. Thunder Hunter, that guy is so powerful. Miscalculation, Katakuri said, looking at the sea. Master Katakuri was wounded like this. Is that Thunder Hunter already so powerful? Katakuri looked at Katakuri, who was humped over, with a huge bloody hole on his chest, and Katakuri with a face, said in shock. That is the undefeated legend Katakuri in their eyes. There is no one Thunder Hunter today. Terrifying. We underestimate that guy too much. That guy has become the top part of the strength in this sea. Katakuri clutched the scar on his chest and said out of breath. Next time you meet him, you'd better run away. Unless it's our three generals, no one is his opponent. Katakuri stood up, his face even paler. This blow, it can be said that he almost killed him. Is this guy so powerful? Katakuri. When Perospero heard this, he couldn't help being a little surprised. Chapter 276. Bigumum is in a hurry. Brother, you have already experienced his strength, he deserves such an evaluation. Katakuri glanced at Perospero, then looked away, and said, in the future, you should start to be careful about this guy. No, you should start to be careful about the Whitebeard pirates. This guy has a partnership with Whitebeard, and there's no telling that he'll get involved in the fight with us when it's necessary, and at that time, it's dangerous. Katakuri said with a rather solemn expression on his face. Marco's observation haki is only higher than mine, and with his special abilities, he is a very difficult opponent. An LT, P and GT. With this Thunder Hunter today, our future may not be so good. The friction with Whitebeard will make us collide again one day. At that time, getting rid of him was one of the keys to deciding the outcome. He was as tricky as Marco. Hearing this, Perospero nodded in agreement, and he naturally knew that Katakuri was not talking nonsense. I don't want to admit it, but it's the truth. The sea, once again on the cusp of turbulence. The last time I felt this way was 10 years ago, when the New World had just elected 4 emperors. Hearing this, Perospero sighed with emotion. Time is really ruthless, 10 years have passed in a blink of an eye. Immediately, they turned back. The next day. Damn kid, how dare you destroy my interest, I will kill you. When Bigumum learned that the toy little devil Ozzy Jr. she liked was intercepted and let go by Shajir-Ching, she was directly angry. But the point is that this is not over yet. Shajir-Ching actually injured her eldest son Perospero and second son Katakuri one after another. This is simply frantically ravaging her Bigumum's face, completely ignoring her Bigumum's majesty of the 4 emperors. Can Bigumum take this anger? How can it be? Who is she? Bigumum, the 4th emperor. The emperor of the New World, the absolute king who rules the sea, is a goddess who is aloof and bossy, and decides the fate of a quarter of the pirates in the whole New World. But now, he has been slapped, provoked by a stunned young man like Shajir-Ching. If Shajir-Ching is not taken down and her corpse is broken into thousands of pieces, how can she maintain her majesty and continue to rule the sea, making the pirates from all over the world fearful? Bigumamu directly stepped on the thunder cloud Hermes, Zeus, with the fire cloud, Prometheus, on his head, carrying the machete, Napoleon, and rushed directly to the first half of the Great Route, to personally cut Shajir-Ching to vent his heart anger. And this explosive news spread wildly over the entire sea when Bigumamu rushed to Mok Town in the first half of the Great Route. Injuring the 3 generals, letting go of the prey that Bigumum was interested in, and letting Bigumum go out in person, this is simply going against the sky. The whole sea went crazy again because of Shajir-Ching. What a terrible guy. It's only been so long, and there is such a big commotion. All kinds of forces on the sea were frightened by Shajir-Ching's terrifying record. Cool, good boy, it has already reached this level, very good. When Whitebeard found out about this, he couldn't help laughing out of relief. This is so comforting. Chapter 277. Sengoku is also excited. Katakuri is a 3 general star, someone who has already stood at the pinnacle of this world's combat power. Injuring him and getting out of it is more shocking than beating Jack. The gold content is different. However, the people of our Whitebeard pirates can't be disturbed. Little ones, follow me to intercept Big Umum. Whitebeard intends to help Shajirching stop Big Umum. Although Shajirching faced Katakuri and Perospero alone, both of them retreated completely, and he also suffered heavy losses with Katakuri. But this is his limit now. No more than that. And Big Umamu is the 4 emperors, and his strength is much stronger than Katakuri. Shajirching is stared at by her. How can it be better? Whitebeard does not take action. It is estimated that tomorrow we will see the news that Shajirching was killed by Big Umum. Therefore, the Whitebeard pirates set off in a mighty way. In an instant, the whole new world became turbulent because of the movements of the 2 emperors. All eyes are on these 2. In the new world, the biggest news is naturally the collision between the 4 emperors. But hearing this news, there is one person who is more excited than those pirates in the new world. This person is Marine Marshal Sengoku. Any collision between the 4 emperors has the potential to change the world order. So Marine had to treat every collision with rigor, be heavily guarded, and keep an eye on it. Thunder Hunter, can't you live in peace? If it weren't for the fact that you have a great effect on deterring pirates, I really want to withdraw you now and send Admiral to crusade against you. Sengoku glanced at Shajirching's photo and hated it. Of these recent major events, which one of them was not the result of his Thunder Hunter? The matter of provoking Kaido in the past has just subsided, and it has provoked another 4 emperors, Big Umum. According to his trend, shouldn't the next one be Red Hair? Next, you'd better give me a little peace of mind, otherwise, don't force me to forcibly dismiss you. Sengoku took a deep look at Shajirching's photo again, and then handed the photo to the file-chewing goat beside him and let him eat it. And on the other side, the last 4 emperors, and also the youngest 4 emperors, the red-haired Shanks is here. Now there are rumors in the ocean that the next target of the Thunder Hunter is you, Redhead. Don't you have any ideas? Dracule Mahawk, who was the Shichibukai at the time and was known as the world's greatest swordsman, looked at the redhead with a drunken face and asked. Ha ha ha, don't worry, Mahawk, that guy won't. Speaking of which, I heard that he also saved Makino in East Blue. Hee hee, I owe him a big favor. The redhead had a confident look on his face, and he didn't know if he was talking drunk or the truth. Mahawk glanced at him, and then he raised his head and drank his glass of wine. The Thunder Hunter, he's a very powerful swordsman. After Mahawk left such a sentence, he got up and left. New World. It's terrifying. The battle between the 2 emperors directly tore the sky, making the surroundings as terrifying as the end. Kizaru Borsellino with a frightened face stood on the warship, looking at the turbulent sea in the distance, and spoke in a strange tone. Behind him, Onagumo, Momonga, Yamakaji, Stoloberg and other Vice Admiral line up. Their faces are extremely solemn. Chapter 278. Stop being arrogant. There is also a particularly huge dog-headed warship behind them, on which stands Garp, the spiritual hero of the entire marine. And the 2 admiral alternates behind him, Vice Admiral Momoshige Gion, Vice Admiral Chaton Tokikake overtime. Behind them, there are more than a dozen warships, all of which are marine elites. Such an open battle between 2 New World emperors is unusual. This kid, if he hits a big disaster, he will directly look for Whitebeard's blessing. He is also a talent. Garp looked at Whitebeard and Big Umum who were lying on the Moby Dick at the moment, and looked at the fighting Whitebeard and Big like a melon crowd, and said helplessly. Who says it's not? This kid, it's like he's a jerk. Said Chaton Tokikake behind Garp. Whitebeard, why stop me? Big Umum couldn't get any advantage in Whitebeard's hands, and couldn't help shouting at Whitebeard angrily. Cool, do I need to explain to you what I do? Listen to Bigumum's words, Whitebeard's heroic issue, Hockey's fearless. Asshole. When Bigumum heard this, she was instantly furious, but no matter how angry she was, it would still have no effect. She couldn't break through Whitebeard's block at all. I can only watch Shajurching lying leisurely on Whitebeard's ship, looking at her with a good show. Smoothie, I advise you not to mess around. Marco also faced Smoothie in the heat of Whitebeard's battle with Bigumum. Marco looked at Smoothie with a smile on her face, making her not dare to move at all. Damn. Being stared at by Marco, how could Smoothie dare to move? Cracker, I advise you not to tamper with it. Foil Vista looked at Cracker and said. Damn. Smoothie didn't dare to move, and neither did he. Foil Vista, this is an absolute ruthless man. The strength is only higher than that of him. Oops, it's so relaxing. Shajurching suddenly uttered a very rude remark, making Snagger, who was still only an alternate star at this time, glared at him fiercely with gnashing teeth. In the original book, Snug will officially become one of the 4 generals after half a month, and then 4 years later, he will lose to Yoroj and be deprived of the name of the 4 generals. Why, General Snug, are you dissatisfied? Seeing this, Shajurching stood up. Although he was still seriously injured and his face was pale, he still didn't take a snag. Damn, you kid, don't underestimate people here. Seeing this, Snag couldn't help roaring, and he was about to rush over to duel with Shajurching. However, at this time, another voice came from behind Shajurching. Snagger, make no mistake, your opponent is me. The Diamond Jozu I saw came over with a mighty head, and said provocatively with a face full of fighting intent. Diamond Jozu, you bastard. It can be seen that Snug is very afraid of Jozu, so even if he is extremely angry, he still restrains himself and does not rush over to find Shajurching to settle accounts. Coward. Seeing this, Shajurching pursed her lips, looking down on others, and suddenly made Snag explode. Little devil, stop being arrogant and watch me screw your head off. He rushed over with a bang. Snagger, you better go back to me honestly. Seeing this scene, Diamond Jozu immediately turned half of his body into a diamond, covered with hockey, and blasted out with a unique punch. Chapter 279. You wait for me. Boom. The air suddenly trembled, and the waves rose one after another, extremely terrifying. Brother Jozu, retreat. Shajurching's voice suddenly came, and Jozu backed away immediately after hearing this. The next moment, a fierce thunder and lightning illuminated Snug's eyes. Don't think about. Seeing this, Snag immediately wanted to say that he would not succeed, but before he finished speaking, Shajurching said, Overlord. Mental shock. The whole air trembled all of a sudden, and Snug felt that his soul had been bombarded, and his consciousness suddenly became blurred. Thunder escape. Chidori flow. As soon as the words fell, Snag's whole body was covered with thunder and lightning, causing him to let out a scream. Big Brother Jozu. Shajurching shouted again, and the latter responded with an, understand, then twisted his body and stomped again, rushing to Snag. Drink. A punch smashed out of the air, hitting Snug's chest, blasting the air. PFF'd. Snug spit out a big mouthful of blood, and then smashed towards his ship like a meteor. Boom. After hearing a dull explosion, sawdust overflowed, and layers of waves splashed on the sea surface, raging away into the distance. Lord Snag. Seeing this scene, the people on the ship couldn't help but rush to check Snug's situation. Damn. Seeing this, Smoothie and Cracker both gritted their teeth bitterly. The situation was getting worse and worse for them. Lula la la, Bigu Mum, it seems that you have no advantage at all. If you don't retreat now, I will completely take over your territory. Whitebeard also saw this scene, so he couldn't help laughing out loud again, making Bigum's teeth clenched with sparks. Mom, let's get out and keep going, it doesn't do us any good, that's what Katakori means. At this time, Perosparrow appeared beside Bigumum and said persuadingly. Katakuri. Hearing this, Big Mum couldn't help squinting his eyes. Then, she took a deep look at Shajirching and said, Whitebeard, you'd better guarantee that you will never die and protect him the Thunder Hunter forever. Otherwise, one day I will make that kid pay the price. After speaking, Big Mum shook Whitebeard back and shouted, Retreat. Big Mum wanted to retreat for a long time, but there was no reason for it, and now, Perospero gave her a reason. Of course, she immediately borrowed a donkey to go down the hill. Hearing this, Whitebeard smiled. Don't worry, Big that day will never come. Oh, when the Big pirates retreat. The moment the Big pirates retreated, the Whitebeard pirates exclaimed in excitement. This made many members of the Big pirates clench their fists in humiliation. Yo, Mr. Kizaru, Mr. Garp, you can go back. When the people of the Big pirates were retreating, Shajirching moved towards the sea not far away to watch the Marines, who waved and said, What a terrible guy. Kizaru pouted and turned around, saying, Let's retreat, everyone. Mr. Borsellino, why don't you take advantage of this time and destroy Whitebeard in one fell swoop, eliminating a major scourge? Hearing Kizaru say to retreat, Onagumo followed up in a puzzled way and asked. Chapter 280 Little Oz joins in. It's normal for him to think so, Admiral Kizaru, plus so many Vice Admiral. There are also 2 alternate Admiral, and a Marine hero Garp. It seems that it is not so difficult to kill 4 emperors. Hey, Whitebeard is too scary, let's do it next time. Don't you think Mr. Garp didn't rush to challenge Whitebeard? Since he doesn't feel anything wrong, so be it, the order of the new world can't be disrupted for the time being. If you do this without any preparation, then there will be trouble, and then it will really be the end of the sea. It's just a joke to attack any of the 4 emperors casually. We still need people like the 4 emperors to help us deter the vicious pirates on the sea. Without their shock, we can't control those arrogant and unruly pirates on the sea. These reasons are only a part, and there is one most important reason that he did not say. That is, the world government does not allow their marine to carry out a plan to destroy the pirates. If pirates don't exist, what else do you need marine for? Of course, he wouldn't say such a dark thing. This is not in line with Marine's beliefs, and will easily affect Marine's prestige. Marine Headquarters. Okay, I got it, nice job. Sengoku put down the phone bug in his hand and couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. It's finally over, Thunder Hunter, you are a real troublemaker. Sengoku rubbed his temples with a headache and said with a very headache. However, just being a partnership, does Whitebeard really make such a big deal for you? Sengoku looked at the document on the table and couldn't help but fall into deep thought. In his mind, the name of the Thunder Hunter Natsu was more and more coincident with Shajirching with blood pupils. If you're the same person, it really makes sense. Speaking of which, Sengoku couldn't help frowning again and murmured, but it's true that Shajirching was killed, that head can't deceive anyone. Sengoku is really confused now, what is all this about? Welcome to the Whitebeard Pirates family, Ozzy Jr. A smile appeared on Shajirching's pale face, looking at the giant in front of him and said. Thank you for saving me, but if you didn't stop Perospero by suddenly showing up, I'm afraid I'd be caught as a toy for Big by now. Looking at Shajirching, Little Oz Jr. said gratefully. Shajirching said with a smile, ha ha ha, it should be, how can a talent like you become Big Mum's toy and spend the rest of his life empty? The great freedom and the scenery should be visited to see this life. Ozzy Jr. touched his head and smiled when he heard the words, and said in agreement, that's it. Then, he looked at Whitebeard with some restraint and shouted, Dad. Cool, don't be so restrained, even if you think of this place as your own home, everyone is your family. Whitebeard waved his hand and said very boldly. Yes, Dad. Whitebeard has a lot of personal charisma. With such a heroic spirit, Ozzy Jr. immediately gave him a strong sense of recognition in his heart. Ha ha ha, come, drink, You are welcome to join the Whitebeard Pirates. I'm Marco, just call me Big Brother Marco. Marco raised a big glass of wine and invited Oz Jr.